Hi, everyone. Today we're talking about cholesterol and all about cholesterol and heart health. Because you know what? There's a lot of myths around cholesterol. Dr. Joel's here to tell us the truth. Hi, Dr. Joel.
Good day, and everybody listen up. Put on your seatbelt.
Because you're going to find the truth and it's speedy. So, what is the truth about cholesterol? Do we still need to worry about it?
Yeah, so there's two questions there. One, there's dietary cholesterol. If you eat a plant, beautiful orange, apple, bean, whole grain, tempeh soy, there's no cholesterol in plant foods. There's only cholesterol in animal foods. That hasn't changed. There
Okay.
might be some debate. How much does your blood cholesterol go up when you eat eggs, chicken, cheese, and red meat? It will go up.
Okay.
Foods that are high in saturated fat will raise your cholesterol, and a high blood cholesterol matters, and it's not a healthy thing during most of your life. And so remember that key. Plant foods never have cholesterol. That doesn't change. It will never change at this point. And then the second issue is, does blood cholesterol matter? And nothing really has changed there. There's recent scientific studies, large ones.
Hmm.
You can have a cholesterol 300 and never have a heart attack and stroke. And
Oh,
you can have a cholesterol of 155 and have a heart attack and stroke. Nobody ever said cholesterol was the only thing that matters. Smoking matters, blood sugar matters, blood pressure matters, and 15 other things matter a lot, all of which I measure in my patients, who we'll talk about further in this. But you would generally want to have your blood cholesterol in the range well under 200. Healthy places around the world that don't know the word heart attack have their cholesterol on average well below 200, and
okay.
they're healthy, and their brain works, and their vitamin levels are good, and their sexual reproduction is good. So it matters. Find out and bring your cholesterol down by eating these and exercising, gaining sleep, managing stress, and not necessarily a meatball.
That's a really good point. Not eating meatballs, because you're a vegan, right? And you highly recommend going for a plant-based diet. And in our 14 days boot camp, we've got the most amazing recipes that are plant-based. So those of you listening in, if you haven't joined our 14-day heart health boot camp, then click on the link that's going to be below and join the heart health boot camp, and you can get some awesome recipes for 14 days. So talking about cholesterol, when do you start giving statins, and are statins good for you?
So the philosophy I follow was publicized about 13 years ago by a group called the Shape Society. I don't give statins for cholesterol unless I've proven that a patient has damaged arteries. So that's easy if you've had bypass stent, a carotid stent, an aneurysm repair. You don't necessarily need statins, but you need attention to your cholesterol with diet, with exercise, with sleep, with stress, with weight control, maybe intermittent fasting, maybe natural substances like bergamot and amla. But a lot of them will need statins or other actual prescription drugs to hit their goal. But we're talking now about 70% of the public that thinks they need statins, and they actually have very youthful, wonderful arteries free of plaque. You can actually know that. And the Shape Society said, first step, how old are your arteries? Second step, if they're old, let's really beat up the cholesterol and bring it down. If you've got youthful arteries, we still want to emphasize healthy eating and healthy cholesterol levels, but not with prescription drugs.
That makes a lot of sense. What's one of the myths around cholesterol that you're just tired of hearing over and over again and you'd like to correct today on the record?
Yeah, maybe number one is you need a lot of cholesterol to support healthy hormones. You know, cholesterol is the backbone of testosterone, vitamin D, cortisol. These are all important hormones for life, without doubt, important hormones for reproduction. But there are places in the world that, again, they don't know the word heart attack and stroke. Their cholesterol is 130 for life. We're talking about places in Japan, places actually a few in California, places in isolated areas in New Guinea and such. And they have great testosterone and great vitamin D and great cortisol levels. You can have a healthy cholesterol level and also very healthy hormonal levels. Similarly, I have many patients, their cholesterol is over 300. Their vitamin D level gone, their testosterone level gone down the toilet. So that myth that you want to eat cholesterol-rich foods, just slap on all these egg yolks and coconut oil, and don't you dare work with natural approaches to lower your cholesterol, is a myth. Let's X that out.
All right, X'd out. You mentioned coconut. There's just so much conflict around coconut and heart health. Some say it's great, some say it's saturated, it's not so great. Where do you come out on that?
Well, see, it's an absolutely great thing to put on your face. So I'm not anti-coconut. And actually, I'm not anti-coconut because remember, this is an orange. This is not orange juice. A
Yes.
coconut is not coconut oil. They have taken all the fiber, all the minerals, all the plant-based nutrients except one macronutrient, fat. So it's 100% fat. That's not the nature of a coconut. And there are societies that eat coconuts, drink the milk, eat the meat, and they seem to thrive in many situations. That's not the Mediterranean diet. It's not native to the Mediterranean diet, even though some pseudoscientists with medical degrees after their names try and add coconut oil to the Mediterranean diet. Don't you do that. The olive oil is the only one that's in the Mediterranean diet with any frequency, and we can talk about that later. So I look for data that says coconut oil cleans your arteries out. Zero. I look for data that coconut oil lowers your cholesterol. Zero. In fact, coconut oil will raise your LDL, L is lousy, your LDL cholesterol, and make it go up. The American Heart Association, June 2017, said, we searched the world for data that coconut oil was healthy for heart disease, stroke, the #1 killer, men and women in America, #1. And they said, we can't find any supportive data. We advise you use it on your skin. You don't eat it. You don't put it in your smoothie. You don't put it in your coffee.
Wow.
You can cook with vegetable stock. You don't need to saute with it. Now, if you had a big vat of butter and lard and you had coconut oil, that's all you had, I would say don't cook with either, but maybe coconut oil is one skosh better, but I would go right on past those into trying to learn how to avoid their intake totally.
So, in your opinion, coconut oil is not something we should be adding daily to our diets the way we see a lot of the diets recommending.
Right. And some of you out there, hi out there, are thinking about what about my brain? I heard coconut oil for my brain. Try and find the scientific data. I know there's testimonials, and I respect you
Yes.
have to listen to patients. I know there's physicians and other healthcare people that talk about it. Find that study that shows it. In fact, dementia is often linked to a gene that I check in my clinic where I'm sitting right now called ApoE4. In fact, if you have ApoE4, you're supposed to eat a very low saturated fat diet. See, we just X'd out the coconut oil in your diet if you have the genetic tendency that gets you Alzheimer's risk 20 years younger than the average population. So the whole circle says fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, whole grains, minimal or no animal products, supplement with the appropriate supplements like vitamin B12. But the idea, the first book written on coconut oil, it was called The Coconut Oil Miracle, was written by a person whose previous book was about how to take balloons and turn them into animal shapes. So if you want to put your health in the hands of a balloon shaper, then you put, it's absolutely totally true, you put coconut oil in your coffee.
Well, there's someone who's well, there's several people who tout MCT oil,
Yeah.
which, of course, as you know, is quite the fad. And of course, it comes from coconut oil at this point. Where are you on MCT oil, which doesn't congeal at room temperature?
Right. I was going to juggle oranges instead of shaping balloons into puppies. So, you know, M is for medium because there's something called long, this is very sciencey, long chain fatty acids. Those are the saturated fats that are most associated with accelerated clogging of your arteries, dementia, and such. So you're going to find those in cheese and meats and such. M is medium chain, and there's at least some idea that they act differently. And actually, it's very chemical. They're 12-chain carbon segments of fatty acids. You'll never find a bottle of coconut oil that'll tell you, we've analyzed it, and this is how much is 12 or 14 or 16 or 18. So number one, buyer beware. You don't know what your coconut oil or your MCT oil is actually constituted from in most cases.
Right.
Number two, absence of data. So we do not know for the average person any health benefit for adding MCT oil on average. We know that on average it will raise your LDL, L for lousy cholesterol. American Heart Association would lump that right there with the general kind of coconut oil. Buyer beware. And I always say, if you hear a authority talk about MCT oil or coconut oil, If they don't say this recommendation should not be followed by heart patients, they're not being authentic. Even a world famous scientist named Dr. Longo has
Yep.
a bit of a soft spot in his heart for coconut oil, but
Yeah.
says it as clear as day in his book. This is not a recommendation for heart patients. Now, I like that because he's thinking individually, and all advice we give people has to be personalized to some extent.
Absolutely. So there you have it. Now you've heard the truth about coconut and MCT oil. You've got a heart condition or you're worried about your heart, keep that stuff out. Or as Dr. Joel says, exit out. Last question. You've helped thousands, but probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of patients at this point. What is the one thing you have found to lower cholesterol naturally that seems to work for a lot of people?
The easiest one are they're food-based and natural. So we're going to talk about oats and beans. These have in common lentils, peas, the legumes and oats. They all have a lot of what's called soluble fiber. Again, you don't need to be a biochemist, but they do have a lot of soluble fiber. They actually will, whether you eat only plants like I do, which means I take no cholesterol off my plate into my body, I still make cholesterol in my liver. It gets in my GI tract. It gets absorbed. That's why I have healthy levels of hormones. If you eat a piece of chicken, cheese, egg, or beef, or pork, you're adding cholesterol through your mouth. So you have a lot more in your GI tract. No matter what, if you eat a lot of this soluble fiber found in beans, found in oats, you will bind some of that cholesterol. You'll grab onto it. It will never get into your body. So cholesterol will go down with a big bowl of oatmeal. Don't
Okay.
add 100% whole milk to it because you'll be adding cholesterol right there.
Right.
And it'll go down with a bean chili, a lentil soup, a big salad on what you put, some garbanzo beans on top. Great foods.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. Joel. And for the rest of you, we're hoping to see you at the Heart Health Bootcamp, which is now live. If you have any questions, shoot us a message. Otherwise, we'll see you on another video. Take care.